here's Steven and it's time for Scarlet Spiders issue number 20. Oh, issue number 2. Yeah, because a few moments back I just reviewed Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 22. That's why I was just gonna say Scarlet Spiders issue 22 also. So just screw it. Scarlet Spiders issue 2 review. Here we go with this one. This is an awesome comic and this ratings are Comic Vine 8.0. That means 8 out of 10. Adventures in Protest 7.5 and IGN is 7. So Adventures in Protest.com, they have given really good review and it's a decent because 7 is not a bad thing. So those spider characters are Kane from the 616, Jessica Drew from the Ultimate Universe, and Ben Riley, yes, the Spider-Man of his own dimension, and they are on a planet where the Inheritors makes clones. Last issue, our spiders infiltrated the factory where clones are made by stealing Iron Man's suit, but they run into Mr. Johnny Storm, who's part of the security detail. So writer Mike Costa gets inside Scarlet Spider's head quite well in this issue. As he delves into his lonely nature, he makes a connection between his suit's ability to make him invisible and how he already feels invisible every day of his life. The other two spider characters don't get much in the way of characterization as the narration stinks inside Kane's head. Yes, that is really stinks. Scarlet Spiders issue 2, the review from the comicvine.com. This is done by Korean Deadpool's creator and he has given a really good review on this one. The verdict is really interesting. The good things about this one is the hallmark of a great event comic when the tie-ins can become compartmentalized to the extent that reading them becomes optional, but preferable. Getting a whole complete story out of each tale is of course of paramount importance, and while I can't say that the Scarlet Spiders miniseries will be as enjoyable to read without investment in the rest of Spider-Verse, it functions as a great tie-in. Mike Costa is endless, charged with a very limited series about a squad of spider totems that must put a stop to the Inheritors' endless ability to place themselves in fresh clone bodies and return to their hunt even in the face of death. And who better to deal with clones than clones? There's an interesting twist at the end of a very straightforward issue that recontextualizes the intellectual Chenix as one of the more interesting members of the Inheritor family. The interplay between Riley and Kane is the real highlight of the writing here, as they are both clones of Peter Parker but also both complete opposites in the way they get their business done and even how they have had to live their lives, and this makes their conflict actually resonate and feel genuine, particularly as it never gets too much in the way of their obviously critical mission. There are few things worse of the character interplay than constant ham-fisted reminders that they dislike one another, and this issue sidesteps that trope entirely. The plot is good enough and really the story hinges on a horrific reveal that shouldn't be too surprising considering now evil these Inheritors are, that say the Inheritor of the Dimension sits back and waits, which is typically a lazy way of for heroes to reach the conflict by issues, and it doesn't make a lot of sense considering the havoc they are instilling on the factory, and it sets up the reader for something so everyone saw coming. The art by Paco Diaz is good, although not quite as strong as the first issue, with plenty of great looking spider characters hopping around. The man loves to draw his Spider-Man very skinny and spider-like as if they're made of rubber. It gives them an otherworldly feel that is nice, but probably not for everyone because Paco Diaz's line work is jagged, kinetic and incredibly stylized, a great fit for this strange futuristic utopia the Inheritors apparently originate from. There's a lot of action in this issue and it comes off looking like it has a real sense of impact and force behind it, while never booked, never looking too rushed. The small details, particularly as regards the characters from panel to panel, are great, but the overall bombastic aesthetic is where the art shines, and those are in large part due to Israel Silver's gorgeous bright color. There are a one-page splash of the universe's Johnny Storm and Kane that perfectly illustrates these two artists' style and could practically be a single image page for the entire issue. That's the thing, because in this artworks it's really complicated while reading also, but it's a really good presentation things about this one. There are a ton of text blocks across the whole issue, and while they correspond to Kane's color palette, they are not in Kane's voice. They're in the voice of an actor we either haven't met or who isn't actually a character. I'm leaning toward the latter, and it's a voice that has a zero sense of subtlety. We hear clunky metaphors and reference to poetry and literature, but it's also talking about how this impacts Kane or makes him feel and react, lessening the character's mystique and inner turmoil as well as any sense of ambiguity. They are also peppered across some major action scenes, slowing them pitch of the significantly. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. This was Scarlet Spiders issue 2. If you guys enjoyed, just buy it and read the book while sleeping, dreaming, humping, playing, eating, anywhere.